What is up, homies? I am excited for today because I have had the freeze plug Permaseal drying for almost as long as it said to leave it before you put coolant on it. So I'm going to go ahead and say, sure, it's done now. Even though it is, it's not quite been the amount of time. It's been a pretty long time. So anyways, we're always concerned with safety here in the workshop, and so that's why I have these. These are my steel toe slippers or shop shoes, and they're steel toe because of how much welding slag is now in the toes of them, and and grinding shavings and things like that. So they're now steel toe. They're reinforced naturally, but we always are concerned with safety. You never know what's going to happen. This hood could fall off because I just leaned it up there. Morons just aren't safe around this place, and so you gotta protect yourself. Tractor could fall and take a couple of your little piggies off, and then you wouldn't have as many to go to market. It would be a sad day. Anyways, let's get to work on this old girl. I figured might as well put the starter in first, and then I guess generator, oil filter. I need to not forget to connect my oil line on the other side. Yeah. Alright, and just like that, 3 hours later, I have a starter on. So I have the starter on now, I have the generator on now on this side over here that you can't see. I don't know why I start videoing like this to tell you that, but anyways, there's also one more thing that needs to go over there, which is the oil filter canister. I swapped the oil filter last night, but we need to get the canister back on here, but that covers up those, it covers up my visibility of those freeze plugs that I just installed, and I really need to see those because I don't have faith in my work the first time I did freeze plugs. So I really want to see those when I put coolant in here, and I wish I could see it while it was running, but I'm just going to pour the coolant in, give it about an hour, and then come put eyes on it, see if there's any drops coming out of the side of the block, and then we won't have to do double the work if it's leaking there, and come and tear everything back off. Then we will put the oil canister back on. We'll get this thing running. I'm so excited for that. And then we'll see how she does under pressure in that crankcase, or in the water jackets and the freeze plugs, how they do when she's up to operating temperature, which is Going to be an exciting and scary moment because I don't trust my work on those freeze plugs, so I'll be stoked if they hold and don't shoot a bunch of steamy hot water out the side of the block at children while this is a parade tractor. Yeah, that would be bad. Alright, as some of y'all know, we here at the Homemade Everything Garage are professionals. We don't ever cut corners. I mean, you see the blue gloves. It's obvious I know what I'm doing. This is just a helpful pro tip for y'all. I need to get coolant in this radiator, and the other day I sprung a leak and a bunch of mud and dirt and grime washed off of this tractor while all the coolant was pouring out of the side of the block where the freeze plug failed, and all that dirt and everything went in this bucket. So I don't want to pay another $12 for, you know, brand new coolant, because that's crazy. So I'm gonna go ahead and reuse that with the dirt in it, but in order to get the dirt out, I just got this like NASA level filter right here. It's I think it's about a 0.2 micron or something like that filtration unit, and I put super adhesive. This is also some Spaceman tape, not tape, adhesive strip. They use that. That's basically what the spacecrafts are made out of. Y'all wouldn't understand. Y'all don't have access to this kind of stuff. But otherwise, we need to get coolant in this thing, and I don't know how I'm gonna lift this above my head and then pour it in there without making a big mess, but I don't see any other way to do it but just to do it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, baby. Ooh, that's getting heavy. It's actually doing a good job of catching that grime. Kind of proud of myself, kind of disappointed. Alright, so I just came over here. I topped this off with coolant and water, capped it off. Actually, I squeezed this a bunch before capping it off to try to get some bubbles and stuff. Went to the lower hose, did the same thing. I squeezed my hose, and then I put the cap back on it because it topped off. It's good to go. There's no air in it. There may be some bubbles that we need to get out and then top off again later on, but for now, it seems like it's full. I look over here and the freeze plugs, 1, 2, 3, 4, look good. Let's hope that continues, because I've never done freeze plugs before this, so I'm super worried. Then, after I capped this off, I realized I can add pressure to my system. So I held pressure, and I don't see anything squirting out of my freeze plug, so I'm very happy right now. But we also need to see if it'll tolerate heat and engine pressure. I bet that engine steams up to a lot more pressure than I am creating just by squeezing this tube. So let's keep assembling and try to crank this thing. Like, all we need is hook the battery up, run a line to the coil, put some fuel in the carb. I do need to put the oil filter on now. Alright, I'll do that. Dang it! Well, guys, I gotta admit, I'm getting a little bit excited because this left side of the tractor is almost all the way put back together. And that's pretty awesome. What sucks is we'll have to tear it apart to paint it. Yeah. But we are probably about to run this thing, and I'm pretty stoked because that's my favorite thing to do, is get an old engine running. It's like, I don't know. It's gotta feel like when a doctor saves a life, I think, or you give birth to a new child. It's kind of like that. Obviously, these are just things. They're not like people, but it's close. It's close, especially on these old things that seem to actually have their own personality. Or at least it's fun to act like it. Adults can pretend. Alright, so the oil filter housing is in place. And now the oil lines are being tightened up. Let's go tighten down the oil line on the other side. So this oil connection is the one on the governor that had a piece of wire holding it forward. And the reason for that is the piece of brass has like no threads on it. It's really crazy. So I put a whole bunch of Teflon on it and threaded it back in there instead of replacing it with a good new one, because that's the right thing to do, right? Okay. Let's see if that leaks. Alright guys. I should hook up a fuel cell of some sort and try to run it off gasoline, but I have a little ether left and I'm anxious and I don't want to do any more work. I want to play with some smoke. So let's play with this tractor. Yee! Well, it kind of ran. Guys, look what I'm doing. We're getting close. I'm getting excited. See if I can pour some gasoline all over the hood.
Not too bad. Oh, there you go, good. Need a little more. Spill that on the gasoline. It's fire. Who's gonna take a while? Oh,
Just spill a whole bunch more. There we go. I'm not gonna sit there and hold it for 5 minutes. Guys, watch this. We have fuel. And we already have some sediment. But that's what the sediment bowl is for. Cool. So she is pushing gasoline in there. Hopefully it doesn't just start gushing out of the carb. Let's see. Hopefully she'll fill that bowl up. And when the bowl fills up, the float will stop the fuel from flowing into the bowl. I don't see drippage. Hey, this is good. Yeah. Custom exhaust. Some people pay a lot of money for custom exhaust, not me. All right, guys. I call that a win on the fuel. Let's crank this thing over. Uh-oh, I see fuel coming. Uh-oh. Dang it. Let's see where it's coming out of. I think it's just coming out of this bowl. Yeah, I can tighten the bowl down. No. It might be higher up. I don't know where it's leaking. I bet it's just the bowl. I hope it's just the bowl. I'm gonna get a towel and dry it off and see if it's maybe. Yeah, I see it leaking out of the bowl right there. I'm gonna shut this valve off and I'm gonna reseat that bowl. I'll be back. All right, guys. Yeah. Let me fix my choke lever and then we'll get this thing started. Alright guys, here goes nothing. I have 2 crappy fire extinguishers. I'm not sure if either of them work. Here we go. I don't know where to ground this thing out. I guess anywhere. Yeah. It kind of ran. Alright, that was something. Come on, girl. guys, I'm pretty proud to show y'all this. After a little bit of tinkering with the carb and timing and things like that, I realized it was still not running right. And I was like, man, I think that it is only running on 2 cylinders. And I was right. It was, I had 4 and 3 swapped, 4 and 2 or something like that. And now she runs like this. I don't know about y'all, but I think that sounds all right. She does smoke quite a bit, but it has a whole bunch of oil and bad gas and a little new gas and some sea foam, an entire can of sea foam in the fuel tank. So that can make them smoke quite a bit. I now have a few little things to tidy up, and then we can drive this grill into town and give it 10 gallons of fresh gas. That's gonna make it run a lot better. But I'm just excited to have it running for now. And I'm gonna take a break. Whoops. I'm gonna take a break, so I'll probably end this one here. That's quite a success getting it running and driving. And yeah. I'll see you on the next one when we do some, like, I don't know, cosmetic stuff or wiring. We need to get the wiring right. That's what we need to do. Has coolant in it. Don't worry, I didn't forget. All right. See y'all later. Bye.